Good afternoon, everyone. Hey, Mr. Jordan.
Good afternoon, Judge Massey. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. The SAP reset date is February the 6th.
February 6th, okay? All right, we'll get started. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. This is going to be our Fulton County State Court Expedited Accusations calendar. This is a calendar for cases in which individuals have recently been arrested and charged with certain misdemeanor offenses. Soon after their arrest, the Fulton County Solicitor General's office has already accused the cases of the offenses brought against them, and the case has been bound over to the Fulton County State Court. Nevertheless, this will generally be the defendant's initial appearance before a state court judge, so we are able to address several matters, including bond, arraignment, and possible plea offer if one has been made by the state at this juncture. As you've already heard, the SAP reset date is February the 6th. I want to begin by advising everyone that this whole proceeding is being recorded as well as live streamed on YouTube, so govern yourselves accordingly. I want to also remind the defendants that you do have certain constitutional rights, the first being that you have a right to representation, and you should know who your attorneys are and have spoken to them at this time. You also have a right to remain silent. Remember that anything that you state about the facts, the circumstances, and the occurrences of your case can and will be held against you. The state is here and they're listening. So again, follow the lead of your attorney. What do we have first, deputies?
All right, Judge, in front of you, you got add-on position 1, cheers.
Mr. Jordan, can you read that one for me? I don't have it on.
Your Honor, it's Eric Chairs. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
It's State of Georgia versus Eric Cheers, case number 25 CR 00396G. Charged with 1 count of battery family violence, first offense misdemeanor, and the second count is cruelty to children, 3rd degree.
This is third arrest. Last was 07 on a warrant out of state, level 1.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is an incident that was yesterday on the 24th of January at about 3 a.m. Police were called to 7165 Glaspie Way. That's Glaspie. There are 2 children in the residence of the defendant with the same last name. Initials SC for the main victim. Her date of birth is 4/15/2007. I would note that on January the 17th, a juvenile complaint was filed for her as a runaway. The documents we have today regarding Mr. Cheers' arrest state that this young woman returned home after being gone a week, saw that her father had removed things from her bedroom, a la the Cosby family style. She reported that she asked if she could get her things back and was told she could. During an argument, she said her father pushed her and grabbed her by the hair and struck her in the face. Another child who was present, initials DC, with a date of birth of 3/15/11, told police they heard the argument and then saw the defendant strike his sister, I believe, and grab her by the hair. The young woman, the runaway, initials SC, was seen to have a swollen nose. We don't have any information about a mom or another adult to talk to about the status of these children. although it certainly looks like there is a behavior problem. We're asking for SOB, Your Honor. And that's it.
Okay.
It's our opinion that the children should probably not be in the residence, that this father needs some support.
Let's see what his attorney knows.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good
We are
afternoon.
okay with the signature bond. We would prefer if it be through the jail. My client is actually an employee of the jail, Your Honor. He's having some issues with the oldest of his three minor children, the 17-year-old. She's had some delinquent behavior. She's run away from home several times. Her mom is out of the country. Her mom lives in Mexico. My client would prefer no further violent contact as a condition of the bond, but he does need to be home to take care of these children. So we are okay with a signature bond with a condition of no further violent contact with the children. Nothing further, Your Honor.
And the mother lives in Mexico.
She does, Your Honor.
I guess I'm concerned about the safety. I mean, it just happened, so I want to make sure that we're obviously beyond it, but that he, has what he needs to get
Your
beyond it.
Honor, he could use some support in terms of he's dealing with these three children. And certainly the oldest one is a girl. She keeps running away from home, going to her boyfriend's home. She's not going to school, that sort of thing. And actually, she was the one who attacked dad. But he's not afraid of her, if you know what I mean. He's still dad, and she's still a minor. Can you hear me?
Oh, now I can.
I think she
I
was
think you
close.
froze for a minute.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was saying we are okay with no further violent contact because he does have to take care of these children because mom at the moment cannot return to the United States.
Okay. And so the ages again?
The children are 17, 15, and 13.
Okay. So do we have any resources or anything in place for the children or anything, if I'm sending dad back home with them, I don't somewhat see a solution for the children or the victim in this case, whichever it may be. Are we
I
reporting
don't
it
think
to
he
you
necessarily
guys?
wants the children to be in de facto custody, Your Honor, because they are his biological children.
Mm-hmm. But if we don't do something or get something done, we may be back here again. And, I understand the older one may be running away, but we still need some resources and maybe something for her
Do
so
you
that,
think a social worker visit might be helpful for the children?
yes, I believe that would be. State, do you have any answers?
I don't have any information about what the court can order as it relates to the juveniles in the home. I just would reiterate that the state's concerned about the safety of the defendant and the children. There's an action in juvenile court that says this young woman's a runaway, so there's clearly an issue.
So there is an open case in juvenile court?
Yes,
That
Your
is
Honor.
correct, Your Honor.
I reached out today and made contact and got confirmation. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not sure what the status of the custody is of these children, if their mother's not around, if they've lived with their dad for a period of time, if they're estranged, what the issue is. But he's
They've
not
lived
saying,
with
he's
him
not
for the
saying.
past 4 years with him alone. That's my understanding.
I'll just let you finish.
They've been with him, you said, for the past 4 years.
Yes, that is my understanding, Your Honor.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I guess we'll let juvenile court sort it out. I know there are resources there.
Yes.
And I obviously will give him a signature bond. Let's make that and it's got to go through pretrial because of the restriction on the family violence? I don't think I can do jail.
Correct, Your Honor.
We're okay with pretrial.
So that will be 3,000 on the battery family violence, 1,000 on the cruelty. So a total of $4,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. I would like to have a social worker to visit to see what resources we can provide to help the family. And no drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond.
Your Honor, he's a deputy sheriff, so it's gonna be a little difficult for him not to have any weapons.
Hmm.
We would consent to him having weapons for the purpose of his job, Your Honor.
All right. He can have a weapon for his job only.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Is that it?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you.
Judge Miss,
Yes.
can you have that order signed and sent to, Michael Jordan so it can be processed out?
Okay. You want it quickly? I got you.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Missy,
Yes.
did you want me to add the no further violent concept?
I'm sorry. Yes. And I forgot that. No further violent contact. Yes.
Thank you.
You can send that one to me now.
I will.
Okay.
We're gonna go with now, position number 6, Mr. Julian Nash. Right.
All right, this is 25 CR 0000395J. Sorry about that. This is Julian Nash, charged with 1 count of battery, 2nd count of simple battery, pre-trial.
16. Got an open DUI, distracted driver. It's 25 CR 0. Hold on. 2, 3, 4. 25 CR 00009J. Also got an open DUI, 2019 probation, 2018 shoplifting conviction, 2018 disorderly conduct conviction. The ag assault was reduced to that, and a 2010 possession of a firearm by convicted felon conviction.
All right, state.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is an incident from the 23rd, so 2 days ago. Police were called initially by the victim. Her name is Khadijah Copeland. Her first name is spelled Kadeja. Police were initially dispatched to 2746 Mango Circle. That's her residence because of a reported dispute. While on the way there, they were provided a description of a gentleman and his vehicle. The victim reported that he had been sitting outside of her residence and that he was outside. She could see him inside the vehicle there. Officers arrived, saw the defendant sitting in a red truck there in front of the location at Mango Circle, followed him back to the location, 2607 Baker Road. Believe that is the residence associated with him for multiple cases. Police made contact again with Ms. Copeland and spoke to her about what had happened. She reported that she and the defendant had been friends for a period of time, that she was there at that location when he requested sexual acts from her. She reported that he was under the influence and that is a concern, his alcohol and substance abuse. That he assaulted her when she refused his advances. This was at his mother's house. She described the residence as his mother's house. She had visible injuries to her thigh, bruising specifically. She reported that during this incident, when he became angry, he shoved her into a glass table. She also reported that he grabbed her by her neck with one hand during this assault, and that her 4-year-old was present. She did not lose consciousness, but she did report being afraid. She also reported that a family member of the defendant's gave her a ride home, and it was at that point he got into his vehicle and followed. She reported that there was an incident in September of this year. I've pulled that police report. She had reported in September about a similar incident, the defendant again intoxicated and making contact with her sitting outside of her residence. We've been in touch with the victim today. Again, she said that there is a substance abuse problem. She is not inclined to have contact, and we're asking for a stay away from 2746 Mango Circle. If you'd call for her, thank you. We're asking for a $4,000 surety bond, Your Honor. Again, to stay away from that location, have no contact with Ms. Copeland, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. And we'd ask for an ankle monitor at this point. He's got 2 open DUIs. He's currently on bond from January the 2nd out of this court. Judge Morrow signed a bond, a $2,000 good bond, requiring he have no further violations of the law and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. And he's clearly in violation of 2 of those terms now.
All right.
Your Honor, Attorney Ryan Williams on behalf of the defendant, Your Honor. After the resuscitation of the facts, I want to note that the defendant was not charged with any DUI allegations, although he had a interaction with law enforcement. Obviously, law enforcement is very well trained in DUI interactions, and despite the resuscitation of the facts and him driving a vehicle, I think he would have been charged with a DUI allegation. So I do not believe that the resuscitation of the facts coming from the alleged victim was accurate, that he was under the influence of any alcohol or drugs at the time. Furthermore, Your Honor, the defendant lives at 1630 to Forest Walk, Northwest. He does not desire to have any further contact with the alleged victim, Your Honor. He, in fact, as you can see, took the brunt of this interaction, Your Honor. The alleged victim has made previous police reports, Your Honor, but there's also, I think, counter reports that from between the two of them, Your Honor. So we do think that no further contact is warranted between the two of them. My client is not a danger to the community, Your Honor. He has lived at this address, 1630 Forest Walk, for some time. He has a child that attends a local school that he has to take and drop off that son because that school does not have a school bus transportation. So he is the one that's responsible. He has a joint custody with that child that is not ordered through court order. And he has been holding his joint custody arrangements for 9 years. Again, he's attended some college, Your Honor. He's again not a threat to the community. We do believe that Mr. Nash is on his way to get some help for substance abuse, but this is not the case in which substances were used, Your Honor. I did represent him in that prior DUI. That DUI was reduced to a reckless drive in the 2019 one. However, this new allegation, Your Honor, that happened on January 2nd, we have not gotten into the facts of that one, or we haven't gotten any discovery on that one, so I can't speak to that one at this particular time. Your Honor, we would be asking that Mr. Nash is giving a signature bond, Your Honor, and no ankle monitor. He cannot afford an ankle monitor, Your Honor. He is a freelance worker, mostly working at temp service, people ready, Your Honor. And I think that, as we know, the workforce at this point is not doing a lot of hiring. They're hiring freezes all around. I think it's going to continue on. So it's going to be hard for him to afford an ankle monitor, take care of his financial responsibilities with his kid, and also be able to hold down his rental at his home. So at this point, we're asking for a signature bond if the court was so ordered.
All right, I'm not inclined to do a signature bond because of his history, but I will give a surety bond.
Your Honor, if you would sound for the victim, Mrs. Copeland, just.
Oh, I'm sorry. You did tell me
I
that.
apologize.
Yeah, I forgot. Miss Copeland, is it Khadijah Copeland? No, I don't think she's on or anyone matching that name. All right, I will order a $4,000 surety bond, $2,000 on each of the charges. With that surety bond, he's to have no further contact with Khadijah Copeland. He is to stay away. Is it the 2746 Mango Circle?
Yes, Your Honor, that's her location.
All right, to stay away from her employment, home, or anywhere that she may be, is to be 200 yards or more away from her. He's to have no contact with her by email, cell phone, or any type of social media, no contact with her at all. No drugs, alcohol, guns, or weapons while on bond. I would love to order the ankle monitor, but I will not because I'm not sure, again, as far as doing that with this case. And I don't know, were there any prior batteries or simple batteries with this victim? I heard about the DUIs, but was there a previous case with this victim?
She'd made a previous police report in September reporting unwanted contact and being followed by the defendant, again, speaking about his substance abuse issues. He's got prior felonies for theft and possession of a firearm. He has an aggravated assault from 2018, where he sicked his dog on a young woman at the same location. Also, substance abuse was indicated. That was reduced to a disorderly. He's got a simple battery family violence from 2019 that I'm not sure what the disposition was. In 2019, he also had a probation revocation where he was required to undergo a substance abuse evaluation and to have no contact with victims A. Clark and A. Horton. He has a
I didn't want to go through his whole history again,
2023
but I do
open,
get it.
2 open DUIs, Your Honor, that I
Right.
see.
Well,
And-
I don't know that the ankle monitor is going to stop him from driving or getting the DUIs, or that is what's resulting in the batteries. I'm concerned about the safety of all citizens, as well as Ms. Copeland and any other drivers that he could encounter with the DUIs. And there's been no disposition on those cases. Hopefully he will get some help. I usually sometimes will order them to go to AA courses if he's not already registered or is not a part of any of the other cases. I could do that possibly. Is he in AA?
Your Honor, he's not currently,
Counsel?
not currently in AA. However, I have been in conversations with his mother, who's also, or she was on this particular Zoom. We're gonna try to get him into some inpatient treatment to address some of these drinking issues and things of that nature.
Well, since the family is there and it's going to do that, let me make that a part of my order, that they continue pursuing some inpatient alcohol or drugs or whatever treatment he needs, including but not limited to AA meetings. If the inpatient supersedes that, then maybe he won't need the AA. But I do want to order that he get some alcohol and or drug treatment going forward, and to comply with any of the recommendations or recommended treatment. And hopefully it will be inpatient initially. So I'm going to make that a part of the order, that they continue to do that, because I'm afraid if I don't, he won't do it if he's not ordered to do it, and then he may be back here again. So we're trying to prevent that.
So is Your Honor
No,
ordering an evaluation and to follow through with any recommendations for treatment?
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. And again, no drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. If he has any guns in his possession, he needs to turn those in to the sheriff's department immediately, to have none in his home or his possession. And I think that is no further contact with Ms. Copeland. I think I've said that. Anything else, counsel, that I've left out?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. That'll be it.
Your Honor.
All right. Thank you.
We're gonna do position number 8, Mr. West.
This is 25 CR 0000394C Lawrence West.
Yes, Your Honor.
Charged with 3 counts of battery family violence, 1 count of simple battery family violence, and 1 count of criminal trespass. Pre-trial?
12. Last arrest was on the 20th of this month for suspended registration. He went to the city jail for that. 2021 cruelty to animals arrest. Probations from 2018 and 19. 2017 trespass conviction. 2011 he had a charge out of the Army. It was a CWAC charge. I'll put it in the chat. And before that was a 04 assault causing bodily injury conviction. And he's wanted out of Clayton County.
All right.
Your Honor, this is an incident that actually happened in October. Police report was made. Multiple witnesses were present. This is an assault that happened in the street and in front of the, I believe it was a laundromat at the location. Specifically, hold on.
And I apologize. I don't mean to interrupt you, but
Sure.
I was just reminded that this group of defendants did not get the initial announcement.
Go right ahead.
I think we forgot about that. I hate to interrupt your your case, but let me do that so that they will have the instructions, because I forgot we only had the one defendant in the courtroom. All right, we're beginning our Fulton County State Court Expedited Accusations calendar. And this is a calendar for cases where individuals have recently been arrested and charged with certain misdemeanor offenses. Soon after their arrest, the Fulton County Solicitor General's office has already accused the cases of the offenses brought against them, and these cases have been bound over to the Fulton County State Court. Nevertheless, this will usually be the defendant's initial appearance before a state court judge, and we are able to address several matters, including bond, possible arraignment, and a possible plea offer if one has been received or offered by the state at this juncture. Also, the reset date for the SAP calendar is February the 6th. I also want to remind the defendants that this whole entire proceeding is being recorded as well as live streamed on YouTube, so govern yourselves accordingly. I want to remind the defendants that you do have certain constitutional rights, the first being right to representation. You should know who your attorneys are by now and spoken to them, and you have a right to remain silent. Remember that anything that you state about the facts, the circumstances, and the occurrences of your case can and will be held against you. The state is here and they're listening. All right. Sorry about that. Go ahead, start over. I'm sorry.
No problem, Your Honor. So this is an incident that was reported in October of this past year, 2024. Police were called to the area of a laundromat. The specific address is 1801 DeLoe Drive. The call was made and reported that there was a male beating a woman in the street there. Multiple bystanders reported that the victim had gone inside the location. Surveillance revealed that she fled into the location of a location there, like a little store. I think it's a strip mall, and that the defendant followed her. He's seen on video. Police documents state that as they approached the victim on scene, they immediately saw she had visible injuries, a large swelling to her forehead. She reported that she came home from military duty that day between 4 and 6. And when she saw that her boyfriend, the defendant in front of you, started to behave in a way that indicated he was going to be abusive and that's the pattern, she started to gather her things to leave the location where they live. Her name is Tayani Kierce, Kierce, last name. First name is Taiyanai. So she gathered her things to leave the location where they were. He prevented her from leaving. Eventually, she was able to get out, but he followed her. So she was on foot when he caught up to her in front of that laundromat at 1801 DeLoe. He shoved her to the ground. She fell and hit her head. He was yelling at her and striking her with his hands. He stomped on her with his feet. At one point, when she stood up, he kneed her in the head with his knee, putting her to the ground again. She then ran and tried to get onto a bus, but was unable to. Then she went inside the location at 1801 DeLoe and asked the clerk for help. And that's when police were called. Again, multiple witnesses spoke to police. The defendant had fled the location. The defendant was reported to be living at 1717 Central Avenue or Central Villa, apartment 89. A knock and talk was done, but no one answered the door. The victim's cell phone was taken from her and broken during this incident. She was transported to Grady for treatment, and a arrest warrant was issued for the defendant. He was just picked up on the 20th on Cascade, driving, and had active warrants. It looks like there's also, you just heard about it, a warrant out of Clayton County, Your Honor. We've tried to get in touch with the victim today. We haven't been successful yet, but we will continue our efforts. Police indicate in the report that she had multiple lacerations on her face, as well as a bloody nose and swelling that was noted. We're asking for a $10,000 surety, Your Honor. Absolutely no contact with Ms. Kierce, to stay away from wherever she may be living, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons.
All right.
And I'm hoping that
Yes, Your Honor.
pretrial sent you information about the reason the defendant was discharged from the military. Okay, thank you.
I do see that. Thank you.
And if you would sound for Ms. Kears, just in case she got our messages today.
Are you spelling it with a K?
It is K-I-E-R-C.
K-I. Okay, I thought you were saying Kears. Okay. Miss Kears. Miss Kears. Oh, all right. Go ahead, Miss McLeod.
Yes, Your Honor. My client is a disabled veteran. As the state has said, he does have a holdout of Clayton County, so I would ask the court to consider giving him a signature bond to be released directly to the hold in Clayton County. He does deny the allegations in the warrant, Your Honor. And we're also okay with no further contact with the alleged victim.
Are we sure State Clayton's coming to get him?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said, Your Honor.
I said, are we sure that Clayton will come to get him?
My understanding is that they will, Your Honor.
Yeah, I just don't, I want to make sure that he doesn't get out on a fluke that they don't come and get him and then the
Well, we
jail will
could
release him.
condition his bond on him being released directly to Clayton County.
With the restricted charges, State, can I still do? I guess I would have to do it the pretrial for him to go to Clayton regardless. Because I could not do a straight signature on the restricted ones.
So what now?
On the battery family violence, even if I give him a restricted signature bond to the jail to go to be released only to Clayton, does that violate the bond restriction? What do you think, State?
He cannot get a release on a SOB through the jail. You can release him only to his hold. It's up to you, Your Honor. We're asking for a surety. This is a very serious assault in public.
Mm-hmm.
Your Honor, it is still a misdemeanor. It happened in October. And what we're asking for is for him to be released to the hold. We're not asking for him to be released to go on the street. He's not in a position to pay for bond, of course. He is a disabled veteran on fixed income.
Hold on one second. Let me look at something. Hold on one second. All right, I'm back on the record. I think based on the allegations, his history, and even though he has this outstanding warrant or hold in Clayton, I'm going to issue a surety bond. I'm not going to issue a signature bond to the hold. I just don't feel comfortable with that at this point. And so I'm going to go ahead and enter the $10,000 surety bond. And that will be broken up, I guess, 2,000 on each. There's 5 charges. And so with that $10,000 surety bond, if he happens to make bond, he can only be released to his hold. That's a condition, even with the surety bond, that if he happens to make that bond, that he can only be released to his hold in Clayton. No further contact with the victim. Stay away from the victim's home and employment. Not for sure about this laundromat where it occurred. I don't know that the victim works there or just happened
Your
to
Honor,
be
it
there.
was just a public place. I believe she is somehow connected to the military. That was my understanding.
All right. Well, till we have her address, just say he needs to stay 200 yards away from her residence, her employment, and her as well. No drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. And that should do it.
Thank you, Your Honor. That concludes my business before the court today. May I be excused?
Yes, you may. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
Position 5, Mr. Maldonado.
And I believe we have an interpreter on.
I think they wanted that case. Is this
Good
the
morning.
case with the?
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
No.
And Your
Anybody
Honor,
else?
I was
Go
able
ahead.
to interview Mr. Maldonado, but I wanted to make sure that he fully understood everything during court, which is why I requested an interpreter.
Okay. All right, Madam Interpreter, raise your right hand for me. Do you affirm that you will transcribe this proceeding from English to Spanish and Spanish to English to the best of your abilities with no embellishments?
I do.
All right, thank you. This is 25 CR 0000389B. Malvin Maldonado, charged with 1 count of criminal trespass.
Este es el caso 25CR000389B en contra del señor Malvin Maldonado. Y la acusación es allanamiento de morada o traspaso criminal.
Trial?
22. He's homeless. 2014 battery, simple battery conviction. 2014 probation. 2015 theft of services no low. 2015 trespass no low. 2015 probation. 2015 possession of a Schedule 4 controlled substance conviction. And he's on probation for identity theft fraud. 11 counts. Identity theft fraud to create, possess counterfeit, fictitious identifying info. That's 5 counts. Deposit account fraud, computer theft, exploit, inflict pain to deprive essential services to disabled person or elder. That's 23 SC 186861. That's all.
Your Honor, if I may quickly respond to that, I hate to jump in. When I look up that last case number in Odyssey, that's a completely different individual. So I'm not clear on if this history is actually Mr. Maldonado's, because my understanding is Mr. Maldonado has only been in the state of Georgia for the
He has
past.
an alias, right? I thought I saw an alias.
I took him back to intake earlier. They put in the wrong FBI number, so they have already corrected mistake.
Oh, well, I don't know.
Oh.
I don't have the history here because this was ran this morning.
Right. So this is not the correct history, is my understanding.
Yeah, we'll come back to him.
Okay.
I'll run it real quick. State, you got what I got, right?
I do, and I had the same question this morning, so I appreciate
Okay.
it. My understanding is
Okay.
this gentleman is homeless, and it has a driver's license out of Florida, maybe?
All right, give me I'll run it real quick.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Your Honor, this is a incident from January the 23rd at the Walmart-owned Atlanta Neighborhood Market.
La fiscalía va a chequear los cargos y antecedentes que tengan, pero ahorita la acusación está diciendo, los antecedentes van a ser chequeados en este momento. La fiscalía está diciendo que esto se refiere a un evento que ocurrió en el Walmart de Atlanta en el mercado el 23 de enero.
That location is 835 MLK Junior Drive Northwest.
Eso queda en el 835 MLK Junior Northwest.
Police were called to the location where they spoke to a representative from Asset Protection. They reported that the defendant was in the location, had been asked multiple times to leave, had been caught shoplifting multiple times in January, and had been criminally trespassed, returned, and was refusing to leave.
La policía fue llamada y por las personas que protegen a la tienda en contra de robos. Indicaron que esta persona, este demandado, el acusado, ha estado en esa ubicación antes, que había sido encontrado antes robándose cosas y que le habían pedido que se vaya y que no regresara.
Asset Protection actually said they weren't interested in prosecuting the gentleman for shoplifting, although he'd been there 3 different times in January and shoplifted all 3 different times. They just wanted him to leave.
La policía o los empleados de Walmart que protegen a la tienda en contra de robos dijeron que no querían darle cargos a este acusado sobre el robo, aunque había estado 3 veces en enero y había hecho 3 robos diferentes.
Police were notified that he was in the hardware area. They made contact with the defendant. He basically acted like he didn't know what police were talking about when they asked him about being criminally trespassed and asked to leave because of a shoplifting incident previously. He was taken to the area of asset protection in the office and shown screenshots of himself at the location shoplifting previously. January the 6th, the 17th, and the 20th. He was then taken into custody.
Él había estado por las herramientas, en la sección de herramientas de la tienda, y cuando el empleado de seguridad de la tienda vino y le pidió que se fuera porque había hecho había sido arrestado previamente, I apologize, Your Honor. Había sido arrestado perdón, no arrestado previamente, había sido filmado previamente tomando cosas el 6 de enero, el 17 de enero y el 20 de enero.
The state's asking for $1,000 SOB through pretrial. Obviously, that's contingent on what comes back with the correct criminal history. Stay away from the location and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons.
Lo que la fiscalía está pidiendo para dejarlo salir es una fianza de $1,000, una orden de que permanezca lejos de esa ubicación y nada de drogas, nada de armas durante el tiempo que esté en probatoria.
All right. Mr. Dotis?
Yes, Judge. Mr. Maldonado is 42 years old. He has been a resident of Florida for the past 15 years. He is the father of 3 children, an adult that resides in Puerto Rico, and 2 juvenile children ages 11 and 8 that live in Augusta, Georgia.
Ahora, su abogado defensor le indica a la juez que este es un señor de 42 años de edad, que es un residente, estuvo en la Florida viviendo por los últimos 15 años. Es el padre de 3 hijos, un hijo adulto que vive en Puerto Rico y otros 2 hijos menores de 11 años y 8 años que viven en Augusta.
Your Honor, a month ago, Mr. Maldonado was presented with the opportunity to move to Georgia with a person who he at the time considered his friend, which he did in order to get closer to his 2 children that live in Augusta.
Hace un mes atrás, el acusado fue presentado la oportunidad de mudarse a Georgia con una persona que él pensaba era amistad, amigo suyo, y esa fue una oportunidad que él quiso tomar para estar más cerca de sus hijos en Georgia.
And upon arriving in Atlanta, he got into a fight with this friend who immediately abandoned him with no contacts, no vehicle, no money to fend for himself in an area he's not familiar with.
Y en cuanto llegaron, este dicho amigo tuvieron una pelea, una discusión, y este amigo le abandonó en un área nueva, sin modo de transporte, sin dinero y sin nada, ningún recurso.
Your Honor, Mr. Maldonado has struggled the past month without any resources or any clue on how to get back on his feet. Additionally, English is not his first language, which is greatly impacted his ability to communicate his issues and understand what was going on.
El señor Maldonado, su señoría, por el último mes ha estado tratando de salir adelante. Inglés no es su idioma principal, entonces eso ha hecho que los problemas sean aún más fuertes.
I've reached out to our social worker to hopefully provide some resources to Mr. Maldonado, including shelters to help him get back on his feet, in order to get back on his feet and continue his goal of being a part of his children's lives.
Lo que yo he hecho, su señoría, es me he comunicado con servicios sociales para ver si es que le pueden dar, le pueden ayudar con recursos, tal vez de un albergue donde se pueda quedar un tiempo, hasta que empiece él, pues, a encontrar la forma de salir adelante y ser parte de la vida de sus hijos.
And Your Honor, at this time, we would just ask for a signature bond through the jail.
En este momento lo que pedimos, su señoría, es nada más una fianza bajo firma únicamente por medio de la prisión, de la cárcel.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay.
He got 6 total. He got history out of Pennsylvania, Puerto Rico, and Florida.
Tiene, en cuanto a antecedentes, tiene 6 antecedentes en total. Tiene antecedentes en Pensilvania, en la Florida y en Puerto Rico.
As far as Puerto Rico, 2009 burglary,
Tiene un robo en el 2009 en Puerto Rico,
06 possession of cocaine.
posesión de cocaína en el 2006.
Okay.
Florida, I got 2011 operating motor vehicle without a valid license.
En el 2011, un cargo en la Florida por operar un vehículo sin una licencia de conducir.
February 2024 obstruction without violence and damage to property.
En febrero del 2024, obstrucción sin violencia y daño a propiedad privada,
Possession of marijuana
posesión de marihuana
and drug equipment possession.
y también posesión de equipo para drogas o estupefacientes.
And those dispositions was no action.
Y en cuanto a esos cargos, no ha habido ninguna acción.
I got July 5th, 2024.
Tengo algo en julio del 5 del 2024.
Possession of drug paraphernalia conviction.
Una posesión de drogas y también le encontraron culpable.
Pensive. Oh no, hold on. It's Puerto Rico. Hold on. Pennsylvania, that last arrest was 2005. Controlled Substance Act.
En cuanto en Pensilvania, la última vez fue el 2005 con y posesión de sustancias controladas
And disorderly conduct, he pled guilty.
y también conducta desordenada y se declaró culpable.
And jail's the recommendation.
Y la recomendación es que permanezca en la cárcel.
And so, Your Honor, what you've just heard is that this gentleman is a United States citizen from Puerto Rico, has been arrested in numerous states, going back to 2004, was just convicted in Florida in July for drug objects. And so the state would argue that a claim that he has been abandoned here and because of his lack of English has absolutely no understanding of how to get out of Atlanta, so he has to steal a bunch of stuff, just sounds bogus. We'd ask for $1,000 surety.
La fiscalía indica que entonces se trata de un ciudadano de los Estados Unidos, de Puerto Rico, que ha sido arrestado en varios estados, incluyendo en el 2004. Este julio de este año tuvo un arresto y determinación de culpable en la Florida por posesión de cosas sobre drogas. Entonces, lo que él dice que fue traído acá y fue abandonado acá sin saber inglés y sin ningún recurso, no suena como que fuera la verdad.
I guess my concern at this point is how are we going to keep in contact and have Mr. Maldonado back in court?
Y en este punto lo que a mí me preocupa, dice la juez, es cómo vamos a mantener comunicación con el señor Maldonado y cómo vamos a asegurarnos que se presente nuevamente en un tribunal cuando tenga la fecha de corte.
And Your Honor, as we heard from free trial, I didn't hear about any history of FTAs or probation violations, no violent history. There was the conviction last year. Your Honor, I would just go with pretrial's recommendation of the signature bond through jail. As I stated, I've reached out to our social worker to get Mr. Maldonado resources so that he is able to get back on his feet and stay in contact so that he can show up for any future court dates.
Y su abogado defensor indica que no tiene usted ningún FTA, ninguna violación de probatoria y que está de acuerdo con la fiscalía para la fianza de $1,000 bajo firma y que también obviamente existe la comunicación con servicios sociales para que le ayuden a ver si hay forma de que pueda volver a salir adelante.
Do we have a address right now and phone?
Your
Tenemos
Honor, he does not have any address, Your Honor. He has the Florida driver's license, but Your Honor, he has no contacts, no place to stay. He is residentially challenged, and that's why we're providing him with a list of shelters and resources to help him get back on his feet and back on track.
La juez preguntó si tenemos una dirección para él o cómo comunicarse. El abogado defensor indica que en este momento no tiene una dirección, como indica su licencia de conducir de la Florida, que no tiene dónde quedarse aquí y por eso le han dado la lista de albergues.
All right, I'm going to order the $1,000 surety bond. And with that surety bond, no drugs, alcohol, weapons, or drugs while on bond. And stay away from all Walmarts in Fulton County.
Is it a surety bond or a signature bond, Your Honor?
Surety bond.
Did you finish, Your Honor? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
El fallo de la juez es la siguiente. Un bono de fianza asegurado por $1,000. No puede, mientras está en fianza, no puede poseer o consumir drogas, alcohol o tener ningún arma con usted durante el tiempo que esté bajo fianza. Necesita permanecer lejos y no entrar a ningún Walmart en el condado de Fulton.
And I'm ordering the surety bond for now, Attorney Dotis, because he doesn't meet several of the IALA factors. He has no contacts here. We don't know how to contact or reach him. And I'm just not comfortable that he's going to show back up. He's a multi-state offender, and just looking at all the factors, more negatives than positives. And I guess that's all I'll order for this term. Anything else state that I've left out?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Y en
And Your Honor, I'll have a
cuanto,
social worker out to visit Mr. Maldonado shortly.
Okay, that'll be fine.
y el abogado, lo que la juez le dijo al abogado que no va, el abogado preguntó si era una fianza asegurada o solamente con su firma. Lo que la juez dijo es que era una fianza asegurada porque no tienen dirección ni cómo comunicarse con usted. Además, ha cometido ofensas y delitos en varios estados, en múltiples estados. Entonces, el abogado defensor dijo que alguien de servicios sociales se va a comunicar con usted.
All right, that'll be it.
Y eso es todo por el día de hoy. Your
All
Honor,
right.
if that is all my business with the court, may I be excused, please?
I think that is it. Thank you.
Okay. Have a great weekend, Your Honor.
You too. Thank you.
Number 2, favors.
This is 25 CR 000-391E. Robert L. Favors, charged with 1 count of battery family violence. Pre-trial.
2023 FTA. 2015 DUI conviction.
Can't hear you.
2023 FTA. 2015 DUI conviction. 2013 simple battery DV dismissed. 2011 simple assault reckless conduct conviction. This was level 2. That's it.
Okay.
Your Honor, Mr. Favors also has a 2023 disorderly conduct conviction. In 22 CR 0000581Y. The victim in that case is Ivy Winford. This is one of 5, at least, incidences at the same location, Your Honor. Police have responded to 2135 Jones Road Northwest. Let's see. On the 19th of January this year, November the 11th, 2024, December the 3rd, 2024, and October the 24th of 2024, all as it relates to complaints and concerns about this defendant. On this date, on the 22nd, while patrolling, police were called to the location in response to a person being stabbed. At the scene, they made contact with the defendant's son, Robert Lyons, Lyons. He was seen to have a bloody stab wound to his hand that was wrapped in a cloth. He reported that he'd been stabbed by his father during an altercation. Mr. Lyons actually admitted that he was the primary aggressor, Your Honor. He reported that he became angry with his dad when his dad threw a bag of tools and struck his mother there at the location. Mom is part of multiple police reports in the past 6 to 8 months. Her name is Sally Lyons, and she's reportedly legally blind, so requires care. So it's stated in the police report that as a result of being angry that the defendant, who was intoxicated and assaulted disabled mom, there was an altercation, and the defendant in front of you stabbed his son in the hand. Police spoke with the defendant. He was described as very intoxicated, couldn't and wouldn't provide information about how his son got stabbed, said that his son assaulted him. Police notes that they'd been to the location multiple times, involving this family, 4 times since October 2024. But you just heard about 5 different reports, just within the last year at least. So there's numerous issues here. We tried to get in touch with the family today, Your Honor, and have not been successful. I would note that every single call indicates that there is a violent incident that's happening and injury to someone as a result of the drinking. On October the 24th, the police were called, and at that point, the same victim, Mr. Robert Lyons, had been stabbed in the thigh by his father. Mom was also a witness. The state is asking for, I believe what he already has is a $2,500 surety bond to stay away from that location on Jones Street, 2135. No contact with either Sally Lyons or Robert Lyons, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. And we'd ask for a social worker visit, Your Honor. And if you'd call for Mrs. Sally Lyons or Robert Lyons in case they got a message from us today and have joined the Zoom. Thank you.
Lyons, Sally Lyons, or someone connected with this case? No. All right. McLean, PD McLean?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mhm.
Mr. Favors is 70 years old. He is an Air Force veteran. After his basic training, he worked at Dobbins Air Force Base as a firefighter for 6 years. He now works at Mercedes-Benz and works in a kitchen, and he's a steward as well. So I imagine if they have a fire in the kitchen, he can put that out quite handily. Your Honor, I noted that the state has recited several incidents, and one of those incidents, or in a separate one, I'm not sure, on 223, there was a call saying dad's drunk, and the officer decided that the caller was, quote, 24. And I don't know that anything was done in that occasion. So, Your Honor, because he is 70 years old, he works, he's a veteran, given the overall circumstances, even with these allegations, I would ask the court to consider a signature bond. If a social worker visit is not something that's objectionable, we would go along with that. Thank you.
So who lives in the home? Go ahead.
I believe it's him and his wife, and I don't know if there are any. I don't know if there's ever been anything about reducing from 3 to 2 people, because Robert Lyons is the son who lives there as well.
All right, and then the wife or mother is blind, and how old is the son?
Gives his date of birth, so we can figure that out. Got that somewhere.
About 46 or 7, Your Honor.
There you go. Thank you.
46 or 7. Okay.
And I would note Mr. Favor's address in the jailing information is not the same address. He's got a Decatur, Georgia address. So I'm unclear.
Right.
Oh.
They're at Jones Avenue or Jones Street, whatever it is.
So you're saying he doesn't live at a different address?
No, I'm saying that the state is correct. He lives on Jones where this occurred, not in Decatur. The Decatur's an old address. It apparently was picked up in the system there, but the Decatur address is just an old address. It's no good anymore.
Well, I want to make sure that everyone is safe, first and foremost. I'm going to order $3,000 surety bond. And with that surety bond, I'm going to order a stay away from the incident location. I'm going to order right now no further contact with the son, Robert Lyons. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. And I guess that'll be it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I think your client has a question.
Is it a procedural question, sir? Is it about how this works, as opposed to the trial? The trial of the case will be later, you know.
And his mother.
That's more content oriented. That's not about how bond works. So let's talk later.
All right, that'll conclude this case.
Number 3, Huff.
25 CR 0000392A Roderick Huff, charged at 1 count of theft by receiving stolen property and forgery in the 4th degree. Pretrial.
41. Got an open forgery of a financial transaction card. 2 counts. And attempting or conspiring to commit financial identity fraud. It's 23 CP 217624. 2015 FTA, 2014 burglary. That's some probation violation. That's it.
State.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is actually an investigation out of Sandy Springs. The incident in this case is from June the 13th of 2024. The victim, who is Barbara Talbot, was out of the country when she learned someone had fraudulently cashed a check of hers. The check number that had been processed through the bank was the next check in her checking book. She reported that before she left the country, she'd written a check to her CPA in the amount of $350 and dropped it off inside the post office in Dunwoody. She then was notified and provided information about that check with her signature on it, but other information changed in the amount of $850 being made out to someone she did not know, Mr. Roderick Huff. It was noted that he went to the location at 3820 Camp Creek Parkway Southwest on the same date, June the 13th, 2024, when this was reported to the victim. He's on surveillance cashing that check. His driver's license photo was pulled up. His information was pulled up and compared to that at the bank, and a warrant was issued. He does have that open case that is similar. He's supposed to stay away from Verizon. He's out on a $3,000 good bond. It looks like he's got a $2,000 bond on each of the counts. We would ask for that bond to stay the same, and for him to be ordered to stay away from Wells Fargo locations, no further contact with the victim whatsoever, Ms. Talbot, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
Okay. P.D. McLean.
Thank you, Your Honor. My client, Mr. Huff, is 53 years old and has a high school education. He has worked in a confectionery manufacturing capacity, making the hard candy that gets wrapped in plastic. He's done that for several years. He's also worked in construction. Your Honor, he would ask the court to consider a signature bond. The primary argument there would be the nature of this case is not violent and is financial crime. We understand what the state is saying about the other, but we would ask the court to consider a signature bond so that he can get back to his Myrtle Drive address, which is apparently stable. He has emergency contacts. He's been in Georgia all his life, so he won't be missing court. Thank you.
My concern is his history. He's out on 2 bond, ASG Allen.
I just see one, Your Honor. It's a
Oh, one, the Verizon.
forgery
the 3,000.
financial transaction attempting to commit ID fraud and another count similar.
Yes, definitely a history of this, and we obviously want to make sure that our citizens are safe from his actions that he continues to do. Is Miss Talbert on? I didn't sound for her.
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay. I'm gonna order $4,000 surety bond, 2,000 on each charges. And I'm assuming to stay away from all Wells Fargo because obviously he doesn't have an account there. So we can maybe try to bank somewhere else if we can do that legally. So stay away from all Wells Fargo in Fulton County. No drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond, and no further contact with the victim, Ms. Talbot. That should be it.
Next is number 1, Mr. Bivens. Hold on.
This is 25 CR 000-390F. Demetriel Bivens charged with 1 count of DUI, 2nd count expired and no license plate, 3rd count possession of marijuana less than an ounce, 4th count obscured and missing license plate. Pre-trial.
Hold on real quick. Let me see something.
Okay.
I didn't get that case number. You got a open case in Superior Court. It's 24 PI 006240. It's a VGCSA. Possession of marijuana, possession of a controlled substance. That's a 10% bond. 2020 probation, 2019 ag assault battery DV, criminal damage to property, 2nd degree reckless conduct conviction. 2019 probation, 2016 and 15 parole, and a 2012 robbery, criminal attempt to commit a misdemeanor obstruction conviction. That's
Your Honor, the defendant is out on bond from September. $500 UJR through the jail. Ordered not to no drugs without a prescription. That was in 2024, the current case he's out on bond for. Drug case, felony drug case. This is a case from January.
Oh, that was a felony.
Yep.
Okay.
January the 23rd at about 11:50 p.m. Police on patrol observed a white Lexus at the intersection of Ivan Allen Boulevard and North Side with no tag and a cover over the license plate. They activated emergency lights and initiated a traffic stop and made contact with the driver, who was the defendant. While speaking with him, he reported he was picking up his friend and taking him home. He smelled of marijuana. He was asked to exit the vehicle. He was asked if he'd been smoking. He said he had been smoking and that he had marijuana in his vehicle. He'd smoked within the last hour. There was a bag of marijuana found in the center console. He was arrested for DUI drugs and traffic offenses, Your Honor. He does have that open case with the bond requiring him to not be under the influence of any drugs. We're asking for a $2,000 bond, Your Honor, surety, no driving without a valid license, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol. Thank you.
Thank you, Honor. Demetrio Bivens is 42 years old. He's lived in Georgia all his life. He is on MLK at an apartment complex, and he is on the lease. He has phone number and he has an emergency phone number as well. Your Honor, he has, beyond high school, taken training and some business courses that amount to college type courses, not just the vocational type courses in HVAC. And so a little management in addition to that to be able to run a business. He has worked for the last 2 or 3 years for SEJ Logistics in Riverdale. And for 2 or 3 years before that, he worked for Carolina Lumber. He is in Atlanta, and we understand what the charges are, Your Honor. He would ask the court to consider a signature bond or at worst a $1,000 surety. Thank you.
Going to order a split bond, and that'll be a $2,000 surety bond, $1,500 on the DUI drugs, $500 on the possession of marijuana less than an ounce, for a total of $2,000 surety, and then a $500 SOB jail with $250 on the no license plate and $250 on the missing plate. So the two driving charges, $250 each, are $500 SOB jail and $2,000 surety on the other two. No drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond.
Your Honor, if you could go through that again, my apologies.
Okay. The first charge for the DUI on drugs is a $1,500 surety. Second charge with the no license is a $250 signature bond through the jail. The next, possession of marijuana, would be $500 surety. So that's a total of $2,000 surety. And then the fourth charge is $250 SOB jail. So the two driving charges would be $500 SOB jail for the split. And then no drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond, and no driving unless he has a valid license and a valid tag for any vehicle that he may be driving. That's it.
I speak, Your Honor.
About it.
If it's a procedural question about how to make bond, we can probably get the deputy answer that, or I could. But if it's about the case, Mr. Bibbins, we'll deal with that later.
No, I just wanted to ask, why are she taking my license?
No.
No, she said no driving unless you have a license that's valid and there's a tag that's valid on the vehicle that you are driving at the moment.
So I want to know why the sheriff took my license last night.
Well,
It says the license already expired.
Well, DUI usually comes with a license.
Mhm.
right.
I wasn't DUI.
Okay.
That's more about the
Save
other
it for
thing
your trial.
we'll talk about later. Yes, thank you.
His license was just reinstated on December the 11th.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
All righty.
Next.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
Have a blessed day. Man.
Okay. Number 7, Peyton.
This is 25 CR 000-393D. John Payton, charged with 1 count of theft by deception, 2nd count of theft by shoplifting. Pre-trial.
Oh, he was on the back side of the pool sheet. I don't have him, Judge. I didn't see that one.
Oh,
'Cause I was like, who is Peyton? State, you got it? Otherwise, I have to
do.
pull it.
I
Okay.
do.
Okay, thank you.
The defendant was arrested for DUI and felony drugs in July of 2024. That's open in Woodstock. And September 15th of 2024, felony drugs, meth in Cherokee County. He also has a meth possession from May of 2024 in Cobb. So 3 separate felony drug cases that look to be open from 2024, Your Honor. 2 DUI convictions, multiple felony drug convictions, Your Honor. This incident is from the 4th of January of this year, specifically at the Target 1135 Woodstock Road in Roswell. Initially, a police report was made about a suspicious persons on surveillance at the location. The defendant and another gentleman were in the parking lot going through trash cans and looking in shopping carts, trying to locate receipts that people had discarded. They then were seen going into the store where they split up. Video footage shows this defendant in a gray hoodie walk around with a shopping cart, place items, household items into the shopping cart, $95.07 worth of items. He then connects back up with the gentleman he was in the parking lot with, who takes those items in the cart and goes up to make a return using one of the receipts they found in the parking lot. When that gentleman is denied the return of the items that he clearly hadn't purchased and had used a receipt from the parking lot to try to get a return for, he left the location and got into a vehicle that was later identified as the defendant's, and that vehicle left. The defendant was again at the location there, 1135 Woodstock Road, on the 14th of January with the same vehicle in the parking lot and was the driver of that same vehicle. His information was compared to the information from surveillance on the 4th, the same vehicle, and him on surveillance there taking part in that attempt to mislead and deprive Target of valuable items without paying for them with a fraudulent return. We're asking for a $2,000 SOB through, actually surety, since he's got 4 open cases, $2,000 surety, stay away from all targets, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Thank you.
Oh, Mr. Jodas.
Thank you, Judge. Just wanted to make sure I wasn't cutting anyone off. Mr. Payton is 44 years old, Your Honor. I didn't hear any history of FTAs or probation violations. Your Honor, he is a lifelong resident of the state of Georgia and the city of Atlanta. I have a good phone number and email address for him. His address in Odyssey is correct in Marietta, where he resides with his mom and dad, who I also have contact information for. Your Honor, he's a high school grad. He graduated from Lassiter, and he currently works at Domino's. Your Honor, we're just asking for a signature bond at this time so that he can be able to get back on his feet and keep his job.
I'm going to order the $2,000 surety bond, $1,000 on each of the charges. And with that 2,000 surety bond, he's to stay away from all targets in Fulton County. And no drugs, alcohol, weapons, or guns while on bond. And I think that's it. Anything else? We're on the last case that we need to do a breakout.
If that's James, yes, I believe that's what the request has been.
Oh, I'm mute. Yes, it is. Thank you.
Judge, who all needs to go into breakout?
I need to be in the breakout along with Mrs. Iman Cheney from my office, our victim advocate. This case was reset from yesterday because there was a competency concern and no waiver was obtained. So it was reset in order to maybe address that. Our victim is present on the Zoom, Parisha James. She was here yesterday as well. I'm not sure if she's still in the hospital, but she joined us from the hospital yesterday.
All right, and so
Hello?
we don't need,
Yes.
yes, Ms.
Oh,
James. Yeah,
I'm
I
sorry.
don't
Yes,
know that,
she's on.
I'm sorry.
Yes, this is her daughter still in the hospital and she's on. How are you?
Good. I don't know if I need her in the breakout
Oh,
just yet. Let me
hold
hear
No,
on.
the
Wait,
facts.
I'm sorry. I think
We
I'm
do
muted.
not.
Oh,
Okay.
no, I'm not muted. Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you. You're coming through loud
Oh,
and
good.
clear.
Okay. Yeah, she's here. She's present.
Please mute yourself. We're getting ready to go into the breakout and then we'll come back out and let you know what the ruling is. If I need to hear from you, I will come out and let you know. So hold on a second. So let's go to the breakout, please. Is Ebony an employee and Ashley, are they here? Or Case, are they?
Ebony is defendant's sister.
Mr. James's sister?
Yes, and the victim's last name is James. No relation. That's coincidental.
Mm-hmm. And then what about Ashley?
I'm not sure about Ashley.
This is Patricia's son.
Patricia's
Okay.
son.
Gotcha.
Is it Patricia or Parisha?
Patricia.
It's
P-A-T.
a P, not a Y.
Yep, it's spelled Patricia.
Oh, okay. They have this P-A-Y.
Yeah, typo.
And what is your name, sir?
Derek. Derek Renaud.
And let me just do a little inventory. I think everyone else I know. Who's Kevin's iPhone?
That would be the dad of the defendant.
So Ebony is the sister.
Of the defendant.
Uh-huh. And dad is Kevin James or no?
Yes, I believe that's correct.
All right. Do I have anyone else on here who is not a court employee?
Andre Giles. I'm the brother of the victim, Patricia.
Brother, I saw JD, so you're not representing him.
No, I'm a consultant here in California with a law degree.
I'm Kaylin Mance, Your Honor.
Yes, who are you?
I'm the victim's sister. Ebony is actually the defendant's sister. Ebony is the defendant's mother.
Oh, Ebony is the mother.
Correct.
Okay, Ebony can speak for herself, but okay. And then Miss Mance is sister of the defendant. Whew, and I'm going down a family tree here. I think I'm gonna get it right, but I'm not gonna hear from all of you all today. This is not the trial. This is the bond hearing. So don't feel offended because you all are just here for support. I get it, but I'm not going to speak to all of you. I can guarantee you that.
Understood.
Okay.
Mr.
All right, we're
Lewis,
going to
would
go
you like
into
to go in the breakout room?
Yes, I was going to say we're going into the breakout. We'll be back.
Mr. Dotis, would you like to go in the breakout room as well?
Yes.
And victim advocate, you said, Ms. Allen?
Yes, Ms. Cheney.
Okay.
Thank you. Ms. Thornton as well, if you don't mind.
And Mr. Jordan? All right, in the essence of time and efficiency, I normally speak to the victim next before hearing from the defense side. So I understand that Miss Patricia James is in the hospital recuperating, so I don't want to belabor some of that with her. I have heard the facts and regarding this incident, as well as some of the injuries for Miss James. I understand her daughter Diamond is there with her.
Did you want us to stop the live?
I'm sorry.
Did you want us to stop the live stream?
Oh, yes, please. And we're going to stop the live stream. It'll just be recorded for court purposes.